Okay. So now it's being recorded. You ready to AP Snyder?
Yes, I
Okay.
am so ready, folks. Okay. If you don't mind just sharing the slideshow again, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Hi, folks. Avi Snyder here. Many of you have probably seen a variation of this exact same presentation because nothing has really changed over the past 3 years in how students select their classes. But I'll give a brief overview of the process. We're basically going to get started this coming week. It's a slower process, so students will have many weeks. They'll be exposed to different things at different times. But this is kind of the first step. So basically, next week we'll be hosting. This isn't on this slide, but I'll start there. Next week, our SBTLs, or our basically, for lack of a better term, our department chairs will be doing a panel assembly. So we'll do it for each grade. We'll have one for 287, 286, and 285. The purpose of that, so that's not where I'm going to explain how students pick their classes, but the purpose of the SBTL panel assemblies will be to expose students just to kind of the course offerings. So SBTLs will do an overview of electives offered. They'll explain kind of what is expectations for certain courses. They'll talk about entry requirements, things like that. So we'll kind of tailor each SBTL's portion to the grade level. Obviously, ninth graders or current ninth graders will be taking different courses than current 10th graders, et cetera. So that'll start next Wednesday. So we'll have 3 SBTL panel assemblies Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's going to kick off the subject selection window. At that time, students will not be able to pick their classes. We'll lock the portal. We like to roll that out slowly. So basically, the SBTLs will do their assemblies next week. On Friday of next week, I will begin posting all the materials. So on Google Classroom, I will be posting presentations on how to pick classes. I will be posting a subject selection guide. It is a similar Google Doc that we've been using for years. We update it as we add courses or remove courses. Um, in addition to posting these materials on Classroom, I will also email them out to all the parents. So, when you receive emails blasted out over Message Builder, that's typically me. So I will send out all the same materials that I post on Classroom through the SIS portal so that parents can also access those materials without having to go through their student. Um, so that's step one. Then we don't have the exact dates. The district controls when subject selection happens, but I know that it'll happen within the first 2 to 3 weeks of February. It's always roughly about the same time. So after we do the department assemblies and I post all the materials, I will host virtual assemblies. And the only reason I do it virtually is because what we do is our homeroom teachers stream me in all of the homerooms, and it actually works really well. And the reason why virtual is better is when we have 600 students in the auditorium, it's a lot harder for kids to really focus and for kids to follow along on their computer. So for this, we stream it. So basically, I'm in my office and I model how to pick classes for students. And then our homeroom teachers put it up on their smart boards and the kids watch it, they ask questions. And I also record each of those meetings and then share them on, I have, believe it or not, a YouTube channel. If you go on YouTube, you can find 3 years worth of me recording subject selection videos. Lucky me. And I will share them on YouTube and then I post them on Classroom and I also email out those links. So, the process for my current ninth grade parents, this will be new to you, but everyone else, it's going to look pretty similar to how it looked the past couple of years. After we do those panel assemblies, we will open up the portal for students to pick classes. During the time the portal is open, we like to keep the portal open a full week. Some schools keep it open longer, some schools keep it open shorter. I find that a week seems to be the sweet spot. One year we opened it for 2 weeks, and it actually students procrastinated doing their class selections when it was open that long, and we ended up having more students not do it. And then basically what happens when a student doesn't complete subject selection, I have an assistant roster chair, Amanda Glenn, who is spectacular. She's a math teacher. She works really hard. We then we run reports, and then we call each student who doesn't do it to my office, and we pick the classes with them. But we really want to empower students to do this. So that's why we find the week seems to be the best spot, because it's kind of like all out blitz. It's subject selection time. Kids know it. They do it. Um, the thing I will say, it is not a first come, first serve process. So there is no rush. When a student picks their classes, doesn't determine if they get the class. It has nothing to do with that. It's actually two separate processes. Students fill out what's called an academic plan in SIS, and then we roll it over into the course selection window. So it's not a rush, but students have to complete it by the time it's going to close. Okay. During that week when it's open, I also host daily drop-ins every day. So I'll go to the auditorium every day from 3, sometimes Spain conference, depends on if the music and arts department need the auditorium for practice, but I'll go there every day from 3 to 4 and just be there in case kids have questions. And then I also, during advisory, post a Zoom link, and I just sit on Zoom and students pop on. I do find that our kids, it's mostly the 9th graders who have the questions. A lot of our other kids are go-getters. They really do their research. They pretty much know what to do. But every now and again, it's nice. I get to work with an upperclassman who's kind of torn or in between, or has like a very unique circumstance. All right, next slide, please. So this part is just kind of general information. I think it's helpful for students or for parents to know. We also present this to students. These credit requirements, these are minimums after each year. So 23 and a half is the minimum amount of credits required for a student to graduate from Central High School. And not just Central High School, any high school in the school district of Philadelphia. Our students are typically over-credited. So our average 9th grader actually earns 7 to 7.5 credits. We really try to bulk our credits so that number one, I think it helps contribute to the fact that, we typically, out of 600 graduates, maybe have 4 students who don't meet graduation requirements. And that's typically because of failures and not making up credits. But our graduation, percentage is so high. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that we roster our classes. We really try to bulk up in the early years, gives more flexibility as they get older, for more space for choice. We also offer free periods for seniors. So these are the minimums, but we tend to be at 7 to 7.5 freshman year, 14 to 15 credits after sophomore year, 19.5 to 20 credits after 11th grade, and then well over that. I do want to apologize if you hear children's voices. It is bath time in my house right now, and the bathroom is right behind my office. So apologies if you do hear little children. It can get hectic at the 6 to 7 o'clock hour. All right, next slide, please. How to check credits. Students are able to check their credits if they go on their student portal and they click on documents, they can see their credits. With that said, we do this for students. So the roster office regularly checks everything. So we have extensive, what we call graduation trackers, meaning we verify every student's class request to make sure they're on track for graduation. And we especially do this with incoming seniors. So even though we have reports to run, we go through hand every senior's classes to make sure they're picking classes that satisfy graduation requirements. There will never be a student who, finishes senior year and they're like, oh, you didn't graduate. You didn't have the right amount of science credits. We have lots of fail safes in place to prevent that from happening. But if a student is curious, they can check their own credit profile through Infinite Campus. I'm going to explain the process for honors and everything as we go on, so don't worry. This is just a more specific overview of the credits that are required for students. This is what's required for graduation. So you'll notice here, students must take 2 credits minimum or minimally of world language. Most of our students take 3 or 4. I always require or encourage students to look at college websites. Some colleges require 3 years, 4 years. So you want to be careful before dropping your world language. 2 credits of arts and humanities. Arts and humanities counts as art, music. Most of our social studies and English electives also fulfill that category. It's actually quite an easy category to fill. Most of our kids are done after freshman year. Every student needs 4 credits or 4 years. A 1-year class equals 1 credit for everything at Central. Half-year class typically equals a half credit. Sometimes we give a full credit depending on the course. But every student needs 4 credits in English, 4 credits in history. They need 3 credits in math and 3 credits in science. So you don't need 4 maths and 4 sciences. You need 3 of each. And then you need either a 4th advanced credit. So that counts as an AP or IB elective, or another math or science course. So it's pretty broad. That seems to be where we have to work with seniors the closest, is making sure they have that 4th math, science, AP, or IB class. Every student requires 1.5 credits of physical education. That's 1 credit of PE, half a credit of health. And then every student requires 1 year of what we call a multidisciplinary project. It is not a course. It actually runs in conjunction with senior year history. So it's not an extra class, but it is tied to the history class senior year. Okay, next slide, please. Here I'm going to go through briefly what each grade level schedule will look like. As students progress throughout their journey at Central High School, they gain more choice. So what that means is in 10th grade, you're going to have a lot less choice in your schedule than you would senior year. So every single 10th grader is going to take one of 2 courses, English 2 or English 2 honors. I will talk about entry requirements for honors APIB a little bit later, but everyone is going to take either English 2 or 2 honors. We're going to take African American History Honors, or AP African American History. They all fulfill the same requirement. Everyone's going to take Geometry or Geometry Honors. Physics Honors, or AP Physics. AP is Advanced Placement. Everyone's going to take the 2nd year of their current world language or whatever comes next. We have some freshmen who happen to be starting in 2 honors. They'll go to 3 or 3 IB, but they'll take the next year of world language, and then they will have an elective. And again, I will share the subject selection guide, and you'll see it's a 60-page document. It'll show every elective. It'll show what grades it's open to, prerequisites, et cetera, et cetera. Next, thank you. 11th grade traditional. So I call it traditional because it is not the IB schedule. The IB, or International Baccalaureate schedule, is going to be a little different. But this is a traditional 11th grade schedule. They're going to take English 3 or AP English. We do not offer honors in the 11th grade. They're going to take United States History or AP US History. I actually should update this chart, and I will. We now offer honors. So we actually have 3 levels of history. We have US History Honors, and AP. US History, we have Chemistry, Chemistry Honors, or AP Chemistry. Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 Honors. If a student has already taken that, we have many students who double up in 10th grade, that would count as their elective, or even freshmen who take Algebra 2. Then if a student has already taken it, they get to fill that with another class of their choosing. They will take Gym and Health, PE and Health, and then again, they will have another space for an elective. So if the student already took Algebra 2, they will have 2 spaces for classes of their choosing. If they did not, they will have 1. Next, thank you. The IB schedule is a little bit more complicated. It has some different requirements, but this is just a brief overview of what the IB schedule would look like if a student was doing the IB program. IB electives are open to all juniors and seniors. This is just if you're doing the full, complete diploma program. In that case, you would take IB English, IB History. You would take IB World Language, that is required for all 4 years. IB Theory of Knowledge, which is a hybrid between philosophy and a social science class. It teaches kids kind of how to think, how they know. They will take an IB Math. We offer 3 levels. One class, IB Math Applications, is statistics based, and it is the only IB class that does not require Algebra 2. The other 2, one is a 1-year course that is basically the equivalent of an upper level pre-calculus course. And then the highest level is the equivalent of an upper level pre-calc course, and the second year goes into the highest level of calculus. And then what makes IB unique is that students get to choose a higher level class, and that's basically like a major. The way a college would view a major, you get to pick a class you want to specialize in. Some examples are IB psychology, philosophy, art, math, biology, etc. I see a question. It says, so if they have Algebra 2 freshman year and geometry sophomore year, they still need another math. Students need at least 3 maths. So if they already took Algebra 2 and geometry, the next logical math class would be pre-calculus or AP pre-calculus. Then they can be done if they don't want to go on to that 4th year. But every student needs 3. You don't get credit for Algebra 1 in middle school. So even though you started Algebra 2 as a 9th grader, you don't get credit for having taken Algebra 1 in middle school. So you still need that 3rd math class. All right, next slide, please. 12th grade traditional schedule, English 4 or AP English, social science, that is a mix of government and economics. When I was in high school many years ago, we called it civics. We just don't call it that anymore. We call it social science. Like I mentioned, every 12th grader needs either a 4th year of math, science, or an AP or IB elective. And then they have 3 spaces for their choosing, one of which can be what we call a study skills period, and that is a free. Next slide, please. This is going to look very similar to the 11th grade IB schedule. There are more specific requirements in the IB program than the general schedule. But you'll notice here, they'll take the 2nd year of IB English, the 2nd year of IB History, the 2nd year of whatever their major or higher level course of choice is, another IB 1-year elective, Theory of Knowledge, and then an IB World Language. Thank you. I will post, like I mentioned, at the end of next week, all the materials, and I'll also email it out to parents, and you'll really be able to look through the subject selection guide. Next slide. Thank you. So this seems to be where people have the most questions. So we do not test into classes at Central High School. That changed after 2020. We had lots of requests from students, faculty, families, and all stakeholders to really reduce the barriers or the entries into these upper level classes, right? So we used to have very few sections. We now have a tremendous amount of sections. So since over the past 4 years, we have added more than 3 times the amount of AP and IB classes. So we have 50 AP and IB classes, and that's not sections, that's unique classes. Many of our AP and IB courses, we offer 5, 6, 7, 8 sections of that course. When I started at Central 10 years ago, there would be 1 or 2 sections of AP English. We now have 10. So we have drastically increased our offerings over the past 4 years. And that was in response to feedback from every sect of stakeholder saying that they wanted more access. So that's what we did. So the way that we created our system was we did it based on grades earned in previous classes in that subject. So the policy basically is, if a student wants to take, let's say, Spanish 2 honors, they need to have earned a minimum of an 80% in Spanish 1. If they want to take, let's say, AP pre-calculus, they need to have earned an 80 or better in their previous math courses. So let's say that's algebra 2 and geometry. So that is the only what we would consider barrier to entry is the grades earned in classes. Um, all of our AP and IB courses, we were able to give any student who wanted a space and who qualified based on the B or better role a space in those classes, with the exception of, I want to get this right, but I believe 2 courses last year. We did not have enough sections of AP biology to satisfy every single student who wanted to take it and who qualified. And AP statistics was the same thing. Other than that, every student who wanted to take a course and who qualified and it fit in their schedule, they were given a space. Um, so, we're always getting requests from families like, please, we want more, we want more. We do too. Unfortunately, there are just a lot of staffing elements that play a role into this. So we can only offer as many sections of a course as we have teachers who can teach it. So, Ms. Howard, I know you said increase the IB program. We want to. We've asked the district for more. The problem is we're only allotted 2 teachers in our budget for IB. We have 26 teachers who teach IB courses, which means we are borrowing from other class requirements in order to get those teachers to have availability in their schedules. So it's just complicated, a lot of it has to do with budgeting, staffing, but then also core classes. We can only offer as many electives as we have space in our core classes. Because let's say we have a teacher who wants to teach AP European history. We might need that teacher to teach world history, which is required for every student in order to graduate. So it's kind of like a little bit of a puzzle. To maximize the amount of electives, we still have to make sure that we can fulfill our other core class requirements. But our goal at Central is always to offer as many spaces and classes as possible. And we're always willing to receive feedback, So if you ever have specific ideas, send them my way. But unfortunately, if the idea is we can raise money to teach more, have more sections of AP Stat, that's not a fundraising thing. That's a budgeting issue. And just according to the school district, we get a certain amount of positions every year. All right, next slide, please. Here, this is really more student facing, but this slideshow will be shared with all the parents. But basically, this is a step-by-step guide of how students will pick their classes. Fortunately, it's on Infinite Campus, and it's exactly where students go to check their grades. And if you have the parent portal, which I hope everyone here does, it's going to look very similar. So students, when I open up the academic planner for students to pick classes, they'll see a certain button that says academic plan. It'll pop up and they'll be able to click it and literally just select their courses. If you don't mind just kind of going through the next slides, you'll see here it says academic plan. Students will click next. It'll look just like this. It'll show boxes for each grade level. And then it's a drop-down menu. So all you have to do is type in the first letter of a word, let's say EN. It'll pop up all the English classes that are available to them. Exactly just like this. Yep. And then you select it. So we do set prereqs. So don't worry, like a freshman won't even be able to pick a senior year English class because we set guidelines. It's very simple coding, but basically like this is only available to 9th graders or 10th graders. Students will complete this. And I like to really sit down with kids and do this. That's why I do those drop-ins every day, because some of our 9th graders are nervous. They're confused. Yes, it looks simple, but it's complicated in the sense that it's a new system for them. So I'll often sit with students and just do it with them. Then what Amanda Glenn and I, my assistant roster chair, do, we pull a report. We look at how many scheduling units a student selected. If we notice that a student they have 0 or only 10, we call them down and we do it with them. No no one will enter the summer when we do rostering without having classes selected. Um, Sometimes if they, if a student is chronically absent or really hard to find, we do have to select the classes for them. But that's a very rare occurrence at Central High School, given the fact that our attendance is almost 95% every day. In addition to the classes students pick, I asked them to pick 3 alternates. Alternates are just they just are tied to the elective. So let's say their elective choice is AP European History, and let's say it's full. I go to the alternates, and they're ranked in order top to bottom as 1, 2, and 3, and they get one of their top 3 choices. Some classes, I will say, we prioritize upperclassmen. So we guarantee at some point you will get that class, but certain classes, like let's say anatomy is really popular one year, 10th graders might not get it, but seniors and 11th graders will. And that's just part of the process. And then the final thing I also do is I post links on each Google Classroom and their Google Forms. And it literally just says, do you have a question? Write it here. Students write questions, and they write really good questions, and they can be as simple as, you know, what is a key difference between African American history and African American history honors, or really specific personal questions. We hide the names, they're anonymous questions. And in that case, let's say a student says, like, I got a 79 in bio, but I really want to take physics honors. What I do is I look at the ID number. I then email the kid and give them feedback. I wouldn't share that publicly because I shared the spreadsheet, and it'll be hundreds of questions per grade level. And the answer to that question, by the way, is we make exceptions all the time. I mean, they require conversations. I always tell students, please don't panic. If you have a 79, there's plenty of conversations to be had. But that's the purpose of these Google Docs. It's just to be able to answer questions for kids quickly that don't feel they require a meeting. Some kids require a meeting. They have really specific, nuanced questions. Others just want to know, like, you know, do you know who the teacher is of AP Pre-Calculus? And I'll just write Miss Glenn or Miss Sawicki. And I just write real quick, brief answers. But it's a good way to get a lot of students' answers very quickly. So I know it seems like a lot, but I do want to promise you we really try to support our students in every way that we can throughout this process. We don't want it to be a source of stress. Um, and then in addition to the roster office, we also have the counseling suite. So we have 6 counselors as well who are more than happy to support students throughout this process. But it starts with roster. That's pretty much it. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know this isn't the most amount of parents that we've ever had on a meeting, but that's okay. But I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has them.
Okay. So maybe they'll email you if any.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. I pride myself on being a good emailer. So if you email me, I promise you will hear back from me quickly.
Avi, if you don't mind, if you could put all the administrators' emails
Yeah.
up, that would be great. Thank you.
You got
And
it.
great presentation, Avi.
Thanks, Ed. I miss Kate, obviously, President Davis, but we're also going to miss Ed because now he's a part of our central family too. Maybe we can keep you both. That'd be fun.
Quick question, because some people may have this question. Will I think I know the answer, but that doesn't help them.
Mhm.
The students know whether or not they get into IB before they have to make selection.
So, I think the answer is yes.
Okay, that's what I
I
thought.
believe the answer is yes. And then IB subject selection, because it's different, Mr. Palazzolo kind of does it with them because theirs is just a little more complicated. There's just a few more requirements with courses and less flexibility. So they do it with him. They don't even, last time I checked, they didn't even do it on the portal. I think they do it on a spreadsheet and then he puts it in or I put it in. So yes, I
I
believe they will find out before.
Yeah, I figured people might ask.
It's a good question.
If What's the percentage of people who take the regular classes versus the AP versus the honors? Do you know
Yeah.
that?
I do. That's a great question. It's going to vary between courses, but I can give you some rough percentages. Well, while I'm here, are you Myrick, or is there a middle initial in there? Think it's this. He can correct me if I'm wrong. All right. So percentage wise, so we have 1,000 students, roughly. I think it's like 1,011 or something, taking one AP course this year. One AP, a minimum of one AP exam. So that's a lot of unique students taking a test or an AP, and then we have we'll have 120 diploma students, and then another, let's say, 100 taking at least one IB course. So it's about 65% of our students take a minimum of one AP or IB course. Some of them could take 5, 6, 7. So it's about 65%. And then if you look at the breakdown, it's going to vary by course. So I'll work off sophomores. So in English this year, we have 8 sections of honors and 10 sections of regular. So it's almost the same amount of students taking honors and regular. For math, it's going to be a smaller percentage of honors. So we only have, let's say, 5 sections of Algebra 2 honors, and we have over 12 sections of regular. Physics, we have about 9 sections of regular, 4 sections of AP, and 3 or 4 sections of honor. So it's going to kind of vary. Typically, the humanities classes, more students take the honors AP IB level, and the STEM tends to be slightly smaller. But overall, I would say it's roughly about 50-50, honestly. If you did like an overall average of the students taking which version of class, I would say it's a 50-50 between AP slash IB and regular. And then honors, we offer more honors at 10th grade year. We start to phase out honors as they get older. There are exceptions. Like I told you, there's chemistry honors for juniors, but there's no English honors. There's only AP, IB, or regular. Okay, it says, from last month's presentation, I think AP classes are easy to understand. Chance of getting credit for college or opportunity, da, da, da. But for IB, was it discussed? Some colleges will give multiple credits if a student has the IB. So basically, AP and IB courses are going to work in the same way, in that they both culminate in a cumulative exam that's offered by the organization. So the International Baccalaureate Organization offers an exam, just like the College Board offers an AP exam. Students will take it. In IB, it's also averaged out with a project. They get a score 1 to 7, and depending on the score they earn, colleges will give credit accordingly. It's going to vary drastically for both AP and IB, what scores colleges accept. It's going to be based on the college. The more elite universities are going to accept less credit. You still need those courses to get in and be eligible, but we've noticed schools like Harvard, for instance, they don't give you credit for anything. All the applicants are applying with AP and IB classes, but you still have to take the same general requirements as everyone else. And then a school like Temple takes a ton of credits. They'll give you, we have kids who almost are done freshman year just based on their credits earned from their AP and IB courses. So it's gonna vary pretty drastically. So we always encourage students to look at websites for colleges. All this information is going to be there. So if you wanted to look at UPenn's AP and IB courses that they accept in the scores, there's a chart on their website and you can see it. I see another question. What is the percentage of people who take physics honors and AP Physics 1? Yep. So we have 4 sections of AP Physics 1, and we have, actually, we have 4 sections of honors, and then we have over 10 sections of regular. So combined AP and honors is still slightly less than the amount of students taking regular physics. And the same thing goes with AP chemistry versus regular and honors. But that's not because we could offer more sections. We tailor the sections based on the applicants. So This year we have 4 sections of AP Physics 1. Last year we had 5. And that's just because we had more students who qualified asked to take the course. So it varies every year. And we kind of we tailor our scheduling based on the demand. Any other questions? Okay, wonderful. Well, feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. I guess I'll go I think I'll go give my children a bath now. So it's great to be with everyone. And please feel free to reach out if you ever need anything.
Thanks, AP Snyder.
All right.
Thank you, Avi.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Someone
Um,
asked for a copy of the slides, so I made a copy of all the slides for selection and put that link in the chat.
Thank you, Mr. Myrick. I don't think Nina is here, so this is not my thing, so I'm just gonna zip through the treasurer report. But she laid out the details pretty clearly. So our current balance as of December 1st of last year was a little over 46,000. And shout out the Giving Tuesday donations were about 4,800 and Spiritware sales over 1,800. The only deductions from that time period was the staff lunch for report card conferences and just miscellaneous bank fees and such. Tax donation receipts, Nina says, will be sent to everyone by the end of January by email. We will have another Spiritware sale in March. The current projects or department grants, they're still underway. Some departments have spent their funds, some are in process. Hallway furniture is being purchased now. That's good. Furniture for room 241 and flooring and furniture for room 40. The flooring has been installed. I don't know what that's about. If anyone has anything to chip in about that, that'd be great. And student events are, I guess, always ongoing. The 23-24 fundraisers or annual fundraisers, Caring for Central, Celebrating Central auction. So Nina probably had some discussion topics about those things. I don't know, I'm sorry. And Terry, are you able to speak, Terry? Okay, well, Terry can jump in if she can. Oh, she's here, but she's in transit. So campus cleanup is Saturday, January 25th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Obviously, volunteers, students, and parents, any family members are more than welcome. We can only do it with volunteers. And I imagine students can also get volunteer hours for that too.
They absolutely can, yes.
Okay. And Terry will send out a message soon about like if they need any donations of any supplies or if everything's provided. Soap Central is where the beautification committee, they make sure the bathrooms are well stocked with soap and I think toilet paper before big events. So the musicals for January 28th, January 30th, and January 31st. And of course, she needs volunteers. Terry is one person. I don't know how many bathrooms are at Central, but it would be really hard for her to hit all of them to make sure they're all stocked for those 3 days. So please help out if you can. If you can only come for an hour, if you can come 20 minutes before the show, every hand is needed. Every extra hand is helpful. And
I'll make sure that our bathrooms are stocked and our crew that handles our building, we'll have extra people there to help out also.
okay. Thanks. Community service hours, I imagine Terry was going to say something about students being able to get service hours for those projects also. Communications, Miriam, are you here? Okay, so Miriam does still have a need for help. Miriam has whatever the senior year is, Miriam's student is a senior, so she will transition on to being an alumni parent. So she is hoping that someone will step up and be willing to be trained to take over the communications position. So you can reach her at her email. You can reach out to Esther or any board member if you just want more information before you dip your toe in. These are just some goals, but that's the really big goal. Like, the HSA does want to, I want to say transition to constant contact, but I'm not sure because we don't use that currently, right? And also a goal of this board was to start a regular newsletter. So even if you're not willing to or able to step into the full communications chair position, if you have any experience or input for the newsletter, I think a big part of the newsletter is like having someone track down the information. We want to communicate everything that's going on in the school, which the school already is pretty good at doing, but we want to, spotlight things going on in the arts and in the sports and those things. So if any parent who's like really involved with the athletics department, if you want to send in some blurbs about sporting events, that would be great. That'd be helpful. Volunteer with Central, you can email info@centralhsa.org. We still have the fundraising committee chair that is vacant. The fundraising chair obviously would lead spirit sales and also be the lead for the auction, but there is a committee. Like, you're not going into it by yourself. There's still a committee, but they kind of just need a leader. The hospitality committee, they do staff appreciation meals. They will help organize, like when we do the lunches for staff when they stay late for report card conferences, and different special events. The beautification committee right now is a committee of one. Terry would love to have a co-chair. She has great ideas, but she would love to have someone help her execute it. And parent class reps, I believe we are full in that, but you should know who your students class reps or parent class reps are, because they're the ones who are going to filter all the information to you. Like, we get a lot of information from different sources, but it's nice when I see that message from Tara that's like 287 specific information. That's a great thing. So yes.
If I may, I think the reason they're up there is they wanted two for every year, and
Oh, and you guys just have one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay. So Debbie and Amy and Tara need help. So please, and Amy and Debbie, I'll be honest, are kind of like forces on their own. So they, maybe just need somebody to help like spring ideas off of, or just,
yeah, I think it's just the HSA. Thank you. I think it's just the HSA said that they wanted everyone to have two, so they're putting it out there.
like a
I
backup.
think we need more help with fundraising, actually.
I wouldn't agree at all.
Yeah, 4,000 was nice, but we are a school of 2,600, 2,400, a lot of kids. So
A lot of kids, which means a lot of parents.
yeah. And if everybody chipped in $5, we might have that performing arts center.
Right.
Ms. Polk, is this your time?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Rashida Polk. I am your family and community engagement liaison. Can we go back? Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, right now I am here on behalf of our President Davis, who is really, really, really committed to forming a real, true, functioning school advisory council in Central. So we do have some people who did sign up to be a part of that school advisory council. We had our first meeting in December. And in December, we went over, well, I went over what a SAC is, what it is not, and then the different positions that people can hold on a school advisory council. You can always join the SAC or you can attend the meetings. It's open to the whole entire school community. At the last meeting, we do have two parents who are interested in being the organizer. So the three positions for a school advisory council are organizer, facilitator, and secretary. So we had two parents, Carrie and Jania, Giovanna, sorry, who were interested in the organizer position. We still need to fill the facilitator and secretary positions. So if you're interested in either one of those two positions, please email me and I will put my email in the chat and let me know. So today what we do need to do is vote for one of these two people. So in order to, put yourself on a ballot, if there was more than one person interested, then we have to vote. They have to send me their reasons why they feel they are good candidates for this particular position. So what I did was I took their entries and I put it on a Google form. So under each name is their reasons why they feel they would make a good organizer for the school advisory council. I'm going to put the link in the chat and you can, after the meeting or tomorrow, whenever, you can read and then make a decision from there. Please vote. So the vote is not only open to the school advisory council. The vote has to be open to the entire school community. So we are going to put it out also through the listserv so that more people can vote, but you are all getting the first opportunity to do so. And like I said, if you're interested in any of those other positions, I'm putting my school district email address here. So email me and let me know. Or if you know someone who you think would be great at it, please tell them to email me. The next meeting will be February 19th and it's going to be at 6:30 and it's always on Zoom. So please feel free to join in if you have any questions or concerns about a SEC and exactly what we do and how it's different from a home and school. Again, reach out and we can chat on the phone and you can ask as many questions as you need. Are there any questions for me right now? Okay, well then that is it for me.
Oh, thank you, Rashida. Um, class reps. Amy, do you want to start?
Can you move the slide forward, please?
Yes, there you go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So some of the big news with the senior class 284, we have our ski trip coming up on Valentine's Day, which is a Friday. The students need to be at the school by 6:30 so they can enter the bus at 6:45, and they come back at 9 and need to be picked up at the school at 9. It's an all-day affair, obviously. It costs $110 right now. The price will increase January 27th up to $120. The price includes the rental, the helmet rental, the lift ticket, a lesson, lunch and dinner, a DJ, and you get a hat with 284 on it and the transportation. And of course, the rental is for skiing or snowboarding, and the lesson is for skiing or snowboarding. You can buy your ticket on Cash at Line for a little bit more extra money, or you could pay in cash or check made out to Central High School and give it to Ms. Zesserman. You also have to fill out a permission slip, and you have to also qualify and be on the good list in order to go. So, which means you can't be tardy for 20 times and you have to have certain grades to go. Chaperones are needed, so if you're a parent that's interested, please contact Ms. Sesserman, and you can find I will send out an email again on the listserv that includes the permission slip. And I also sent one out on Monday as well. We already talked about anything goes. It would be great to see everybody there. You could go to the next slide, please. Thanks, Jennifer. There's a scholarship opportunity that I will also place in the email, so you can click on the link. We can visit the barns for free. Each student can take up to 5 guests. And that's offer is good now through September 2025. So a little less than a year, you can get there. Reservations are required, and there is a flyer in the email that I will send out that you can go to get that specific information for going to the barns. Senior prom announcement, that will be June 5th at Vi, beginning at 7 o'clock, and Vi is located on Broad Street, 600 North Broad. And the reason they're having it on Thursday is there is a holiday on Friday. So there will be no school on Friday. That's why they're having it on Thursday evening. There's a blood drive coming up on February 12th, and there will be a Google form to sign up soon. And parents are encouraged and welcome to also donate blood at that time. Central's Got Talent was a great success. And Ms. Sesserman wanted me to thank the class officers, the hosts, judges, and the talented faculty that joined this talent show. And you can find the highlights on 284's Instagram. And the graduation date will be shared as soon as it's available. We do not know the exact date, but we do know it will be held on either June 12th, June 11th, June 12th, or June 13th. One more thing. And there are a few people on here that were unable to sign in on the Google form that was sent out. So should we just sign in on the chat?
Yes, that would be good. Thank you for
I
letting me
think
know.
the form that I got, it was it looked like I was the writer or the editor. So I'm not sure how to fix that, but okay, thank you. I'll just sign in on the.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. So if everyone can just put your name in the chat and we'll record your presence. Yes. Debbie, are you ready for? Okay.
Sorry, my computer died. I had to get back on. I'm back.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, sorry, my volume's not working on my computer, so you can hear me now, though.
Yes, perfectly.
So 285, they have ice skating this Friday. Today may have been the last day to sign up, but I'm sure if you go and talk to Mr. Harwood's tomorrow, students can still go. They have to be eligible and they have to have a permission slip completed, and it is Friday from 1:20 to 4 o'clock at Dilworth Plaza, $25. The ring ceremony is January 27th. I don't have any more details about that, but I'm sure Mr. Horowitz has shared it with the class. There is a blood drive on February 12th. Parents are also welcome to come donate. So it's an opportunity for parents to go to school and help out as well. There's this accounting business finance initiative that's a free week-long program at Drexel this summer. The application deadline is February 28th. Mr. Harwood has the information. There are a lot of grants, Mr. Harwood said, and he said he shares them. But in particular, there is this Pennsylvania Society Benjamin Franklin Scholar Award. It's for juniors in public schools. The submission deadline is Friday, February 28th. And on the application, they actually have like examples, or I guess the whole essay of the winners from last year. So your students can see kind of what it took to win. And you can reach out to the PA Society or Mr. Harwitz. There will be a March Madness 284 versus 285 basketball game on March 7th at 12:15. There's a 12 o'clock dismissal. The winner will play the faculty. Varsity basketball players may not join the game, is what I was told. So there's that. And then junior prom will take place April 10th, which is a Thursday, and we are not off school Friday. So I don't know how that works. Because Amy, I looked when you said that the senior prom was on a Thursday because they're off Friday. So I don't know how any of that works, but they do have their junior prom on a Thursday. The Phillies game, May 2nd, get your tickets, $35. And there is still some limited edition 285 merch available that Mr. Harwitz would love students to come get. It has all the 285 names on the back, and there's a variety to choose from. And there are additional activities being planned, like the picnic, the 5K, and some other things. And that's it for 285.
Hey, Debbie.
Okay.
So we have no updates right now for 286 and 287. I don't think Tara or Renee.
These were updates from the last presentation.
Oh, so okay, so they're not. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Good eye. I would love to say I should know if there are any 287 updates, but the big thing for my household was the volunteer hours, the early submission that just passed, and first time taking midterm. So again, hope everyone is doing well this week with that. And of course the course selection, but AP Snyder just relieved a lot of anxiety about that. So any questions, any 287 parents on here?
Yes, I'm a 287 parent. My son still needs to do some volunteer hours. What would be, I mean, I know, is there anything in school that he can do?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Is he in the music program at all?
No.
Okay, so well, stage crew hours count. They're allowed.
Okay.
Teachers often have things that kids can do to help.
Mm-hmm.
Tutoring counts. And I'm just throwing out what I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Myrick or
And one big thing that'll be happening at the end of the year will be getting the lockers ready for 288 when two
Oh, okay.
clears out. So I will need lots of help with lockers
Oh, okay.
get to the end of May.
Okay. So he should come to you about that, Mr.
Yes,
Merrick?
in
Okay.
245, we have to get 600 plus lockers ready. So
Oh, wow.
that'll be huge, yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah, he
And,
did. I mean, most of his volunteer he did like out of school, like at the zoo
I was
and
going to
at
mention
Cradles
that.
to Crowns. So it's just, right now it's just hard with like the winter and doing the midterms and stuff. So hopefully he'll be able to, complete. I don't think he has that many hours left, so hopefully he'll be able to do it soon.
Yeah. But the soap at Central, so showing up
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
with that,
definitely tell him about
the
that.
cleanup day,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
So
is the cleanup day inside or outside?
Terry, oh, there you go.
Yeah, it'll be mostly outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So dress warmly.
Yeah, I was gonna say hopefully it won't be like 25 degrees out.
Right.
Hopefully.
And Ms. Rosen, what is that messenger request for? Is that for community service hours? You said, please let us know, send out a message.
Yeah. Gail Rosen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let us know, or yeah, because my son only has a few hours done and he doesn't know about things, like, it's been a struggle. So any
Okay.
hours that you have for, lockers or anything.
Okay. And I can also post that on the 287 Google Classroom once we get lockers ready for 288.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect.
So if my student already submitted his hours, is he going to get like an email back saying this is all good and we're good, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention there are a lot of options for volunteering in the building. Just see one of the administrators. It's not an issue. So I don't want anyone to be concerned about it. We can make it happen real quick if we have anyone behind. Also, I'm really proud to say that midterms are going very well this week. So we're very happy about that.
Good. Great. That's I think we can finish in 3 minutes. Let's see. Done with that. Tutoring schedule. Of course, all the kids know where to find help if they need help. And parents have been pretty vocal about asking for suggestions for outside help on the Facebook and on the listserv. So, but there's the information there. And I will say the teachers seem to really be like responsive and receptive and want to help. So the kid just has to ask.
And there are also upperclassmen who tutor. So if
Oh,
your
yeah.
kids would rather have a student tutor, they're also really, really helpful with that.
Yeah, that's good. And I have a kid who I have to push to ask. So
And you know, for our new families, like Central kids are really kind to one another. Like so, like this week we're having midterms where everybody's having lunch at the same time. Like when the whole school has lunch, like they love each other. So tell your kids, like, you know, don't be afraid because everybody at Central really wants everyone to do well. So it's just a warm feeling in the building. So please let them know that no one's scary. They can always ask, you know, an upperclassman for help if they need help with tutoring.
and I can attest to that. Like even I think on here, I think I've only met Debbie's daughter, but as soon as like Debbie introduced us, she's like, you know, who's your kid? What is she into? So they're all pretty great. So the schedule for the rest of the HSA meetings, of course, we already had the course selection. February, we'll have AP Myrick talking about Central Track to Success and more volunteering. March, possibly, hopefully, we'll have an in-person meeting in March, and that comes with dinner. Last time, of course, Ms. Polk provided dinner last time, but it was really great. April meeting will be about college and career readiness and also the spring Title I meeting. And May will be about what we should expect for next year and HSA elections. So that's what to expect for the rest of the year. Upcoming dates and events. I'm not going to read all this out to you guys, but you know, next Monday, schools are closed for Martin Luther King Day. School is also closed January 29th for the Lunar New Year. And report card conferences are January 30th and Friday, January 31st. So there will be an early dismissal. And I imagine we'll get some notification sometime the week before that. And then February, there's early dismissal February 7th and no school February 17th. And AASU Showcase Week, is that Asian American, African American students?
African American student.
Okay. So that will be February 18th to the 21st. And I believe that is it. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Good night.
See you guys next
Great
month.
job, Jennifer.
Thank you, Amy. See you guys next month.